Hi! In this video, I'll show you how to make an overpowered perfume build. Last week, I made a video showcasing the merits of the poison perfume. The special move lets loose an AoE poison that also poisons yourself. Just like that one time I ate Taco Bell. Poisoning yourself does activate certain buffs. We're going to be turning that principle up to 11, and I'll show you everything you'll need. Let's get into it. The fire perfume bottle can be found a little to the south of Castle Ansis. The perfume is found at this part of the map. Fear not if your enemies are fire resistant, we do have more options. If you're running a faith build and your dexterity is on the lower side, it's better to use the lightning perfume. Wet surfaces increase the damage done. Just like my poison perfume weapon is easiest to get. It can be bought from an NPC called Tholier for 6000 runes. I mostly use this one to poison myself. The Rolling Sparks reservoir is unique to the perfume bottles. It can be found a little to the south of the Shadow Keep. You'll have to snipe a scarab tumbleweed from the air to get it. Either duplicate the reservoir or put it on the perfume you're going to be using for this build. We now have several perfume options. By itself, it's not going to do all that much. So let's buff it up. Perfume attacks can be enhanced by the Perfumer's Talisman. This talisman can be found in a chest in the Perfumer's runes. Alexander's Talisman enhances weapon art damage. You'll just have to complete his entire questline to get it. If you go for the fire perfume, you can use the Fire Scorpion charm to increase the damage done. This talisman is found in Mount Galmir, specifically in Fort Lade, on the edge of the ramparts. If you have chosen to proceed with the lightning perfume, a similar charm can be found in the Windham Catacombs. It's situated in a chest in the section that requires a stone sword key. The Rod's Exultation talisman is a reward from the boss in Seawater Cave. This talisman increases attack power anytime someone is poisoned or inflicted with Scarlet Rot. The only downside is that someone is us. This buff can be further increased by using the Mushroom Crown, which adds 10% more attack power. This crown can be found in the southeastern ruins of the Lake of Rot. Now that we have our talismans in place, let's go over our buff incantations. Flame Grant Me Strength is a buff incantation that can be found behind Fort Gil. It increases physical and fire damage by 20% for 30 seconds. This is the incantation that you should be using if you're using the flame perfume. This incantation can be further empowered by using the Giant Seal, which can be found in the base game in the Giant's Conquering Hero Grave. Alternatively, the Howl of Shabriri is an incantation that can be found in the chest on the second floor of the Frenzy Flaming Tower. It increases damage done by 25%, but also increases damage taken by 30%. It does so by hitting you with 10 years of Gen Z brain rot at once. The Golden Vow incantation can be found in the Corpse Stench Shack in Mount Galmir. The incantation can stack with Howl of Shabriri or Flame Grant Me Strength, which is infathomably insane to me, but also pretty cool. Lastly, let's go over our flasks. The incantations require 33 faith to be usable. I am an infidel, so I need to increase my faith by using the flask. The Faith Knot Crystal Tier can be found in the Weeping Peninsula, specifically in the Demi-Human Forest runes. It increases our faith by 10 levels for 3 minutes. The Flame Shrouding tier increases fire attacks by 20% for 3 minutes. It's dropped by the Putrid Avatar at the Minor Earth Tree in Caelid. In a similar vein, the Lightning Damage tier can be obtained from the Earth Tree Avatar at the Minor Earth Tree in northeastern Liurnia. The sharp viewer will have noticed that there are 2 more perfume bottles to get in the DLC. They are obtained a bit later, that's why I saved them for later in the video. It also requires a bit more effort and killing a few bosses here and there, but that shouldn't be a problem with the current setup. The Chilling perfume does magic damage, inflicts cold buildup, and scales mostly with intelligence. That's why I rarely use it, though. The pathway to the bottle is quite substantial. You can start south of Castle Ansis and taking the road south until you reach the Dragon's Pit. If you go through the entire dungeon, you'll end up at the foot of the Jagged Peak. If you continue south, you'll find the Grand Altar of Dragon Communion. You'll know you're headed in the right direction when you encounter king-sized kebabs. If you continue south until you reach Caro's Hidden Grave and then meander to the northwest, you'll find the Lamenter's Jail dungeon. The entrance is marked by the same playpens my mom used to put me in when I was a baby. Inside, you'll be met with a side of grace. Continuing south into the dungeon will reveal a locked door. If you take a left and then enter the second jail, you find the key. When you open the door, you can use the ladder to go down. Immediately after entering the next room, you'll see quite an upsetting individual. In the room where it came from, the Chilling perfume bottle will be waiting for you. This bottle can be supplemented with magic boosting buffs. The Magic Scorpion charm can be missed after progressing too far with Rani's questline. which I did. I don't have one, but you can swap this out with a more defensive talisman, which is not an unnecessary luxury. The last bottle is the Frenzy Flame perfume bottle. It's also the most hassle to get this one. I'll try to go over it as quick as I can. It's here. Goodbye everyone. Your actual route would look something like this, and it takes some effort to go through it. After the golden hippopotamus, take a left and continue the path until you reach a castle wall with boats. At the end, you'll find a ladder. There will be a second ladder further down. When you're down there, you must look for a room with a painting. In that room, you can attack the right wall to unlock a secret entrance. At the end of that hallway, you'll find a lock flume, which drops you into another area. Now that we're here, we can kill the furnace golem in the area. It will drop the oil-soaked tear. This tear accomplishes two things. Firstly, you'll cover nearby enemies in oil, which increases fire damage by 20%. Secondly, we can now have oily wrestling matches with Godfrey. The furnace golem is quite challenging. My method of fighting consisted of doing normal attacks with the poison perfume and dodging its attacks on horseback. After a certain amount of time, their stance is broken and they fall to their knees. After which it becomes safe to stab them in the face. This tactic also works in Elden Ring. After killing the golem, you can continue down south until you encounter 2 jumping puzzles. They are not too hard though. They are not too hard though. What helped me keep my sanity is getting safely off of horseback and just taking it one step at a time on foot, because Torrent is a If you continue on, you'll find the Darklight Catacombs. The entire dungeon is beyond the scope for this video, but just continue down until you encounter the boss. If you're descending into the dungeon, you're on the right track. After all of this, you'll be in the abyss, which is scary as hell. If you continue to the church ruins, you'll find the Frenzy Flame perfume bottle. This causes madness buildup and does fire damage. You can just use the flame buffs we've gone over before, but there's also the Old One's Exultation Talisman, which acts similarly to the Rod's Exultation whenever madness buildup occurs. This talisman is dropped by the aged untouchable in the middle of the abyss, nearest to the church ruins. This fight is a bit of a gimmick. You can only damage him after successfully parrying, but that isn't too hard though. That isn't too hard though. If they catch you, they will likely insta-kill you by imparting madness beyond human comprehension.
This is the closest you'll ever get to playing Bloodborne on PC.
For boss fights, this should be the order in which you buff yourself. I'm sure someone much smarter than I can actually get these numbers a lot higher, but this is what worked really well for me. And that's it. This build alleviates us of the burden of actually having to learn this game properly. Thanks for watching, and I'll be sure to upload somewhere this year. So smash that like button and subscribe. We are so close to 1 million MedioCore members.